Okay, here we go again, people. This is Zyprexa Warning Withdrawal Part 6. The saga continues. And so here we are, September of 2013. So that means we're looking at, what, 21 months ago when I began. First began to start to wean myself off of it. And so here we are, still taking a tiny dose of it, probably really no more than quarter milligram or so, and it's one of those situations where I've been stuck at this level for over a year now, really, between a quarter and a half milligram, and so of course the $1 trillion question that I often ask myself is, maybe I should just make a run for it and go right down to zero and see what happens. Of course, my fear is that it will produce either a neurological side effect or something on the line of a seizure, perhaps. That's my main concern about it, and of course I know it just seems the two main withdrawal effects that are enhanced when I go lower and lower are, of course, the insomnia, courtesy of the rebound effect with the dopamine, and also is the issue of that neurosensory tingling that I often get down my left side, literally anywhere from my head down to my toe. And I will admit, whenever I get ticked off or upset, stressed out, mainly when thinking about you-know-who, the prescriber, that is, if you haven't figured that out by now, of course, that can either trigger or enhance that neurosensory feeling. Now, the importance of that is, see, I never had this, neurosensory tingling, pins and needles sensation or whatever. I never had this prior to beginning the withdrawal process. Okay, and for that matter, I never had it. I was going to say I never had it prior to taking olanzapine, but then again, I think actually I did start to have it before making the switch to olanzapine during the withdrawal process. So anyway, this is going to be a shorter version, I think, today, instead of my long drawn out clips that I'm notorious for putting on here. But but the two other main issues at hand here, again, the insomnia. This year, as far as the sleep problem goes, I remember back in February, March, for those couple months I was doing well. Of course I had lost a lot of sleep for several months leading up to that, and for some reason I slept pretty good those couple months. And then, as you may remember, during the spring, from April, May, June, that was an absolute disaster. During the summer, it wasn't so bad, July, August, but now in September, it seems to be rearing its ugly head again, Mr. Insomnia. So, I've had a lot of nights, past couple weeks, just waking up, around 4:30, and, that's pretty much the start to the day, and of course, I don't get to sleep till, 11 at night or whatever, So But as many people know, and of course I never ceases to amaze me how often when I look online at the other videos on YouTube of Zyprexa related horror stories, and of course in just other research, I mean the number one symptom, side effect, when you start to get off of it, it's just the insomnia. It's terrible because the brain is just became biochemically addicted, and I've used that phrase so many times over this past year, so what's the alternative? Take higher doses of Zyprexa and olanzapine, and oh sure, I may get more sleep, but of course the other neurological problems are going to kick in, and we don't need that now, and this excuse me, if I'm not mistaken, this is what the Bregans, Dr. Peter Bregan and his wife Ginger, refer to as the psychiatric trap, or the psychiatric web, where the longer you stay on a highly dangerous drug like Zyprexa, and then what happens, then, if the time comes to get off of it, well, good luck with that, because your brain's been screwed, And again, tip of the hat to Eli Lilly, and so that's not good. But I'm still, still better off just taking a tiny amount at most, instead of going up to the 2.5 milligrams that I had been on for those 12 years, because that stuff was just doing more harm than good, as the old saying, cliche goes, right? So, and of course the other thing I was going to say, I remember, a good year ago, when I began my replacement search, which is still at a dead end, still haven't found anybody, by the way, but or I have, like I said in the last prescriber episode, I do have somebody, but traveling to the office, that's another story. But no, but I was just going to say how I remember a year ago, somebody, in the nursing profession, they had said, or suggested switching to Abilify. Well, it's like, I felt like saying, I'm not looking to switch, onto another antipsychotic. I'm looking to get off of this completely. So again, when you think about it, that's just another clear-cut example of the drug-pushing philosophy all these prescribers have. Whatever happened to the principle of getting off of them, and I don't know. So anyway, the other thing, that issue at hand in the withdrawal department goes is, now I've touched upon, actually, I'm trying to think if that was the last episode I made, which I think was back in June in the withdrawal series, how I talked about the dreaded tinnitus with the ringing in the ears, all right? That is still a problem. And actually, since, 3 months that have gone by, it's just as bad, if not a bit worse, believe it or not. and it's got to the point. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about this because this is just an outrageous. It's just an outrageous withdrawal side effect. And but anyway, what I'm going to do is play. I was doing some research online, and as you may know, the tinnitus comes, or it appears in a variety of different forms. For me, it's a very, very high pitched tone, or ringing in the ear. Some people hear kind of like other different sounds, or other different types, whether if it's whooshing or roaring or I don't know. I mean, but I do have a 5-second clip, as I said, that I came across, which does a pretty good, fairly accurate job of representing what I hear, and I'm going to play it for you right now. So wasn't that wonderful? So this is something that, like today, for instance, I hear non-stop in both ears. Okay, in fact, sometimes it seems so deep, it's like even not only in the ears, but even in deeper. And now, of course, when I sleep, I am able to sleep. I don't hear it and such, but I do. When here's the interesting thing. Okay, and of course, this really, in my opinion, I mean, it really just goes to show how much damage has been caused by long-term exposure to Zyprexa. All right. Now, I'm finding, like, especially the past couple months or whatever, I'm going through periods where I typically will have it for a good 3 to 5 days nonstop, and then maybe for a day or two, it might be totally gone, and then I'll come back for another 3 to 5 day siege. Okay, so, in fact, just like speaking now, I can actually hear it intensifying. All right, and actually, now I don't know if there's a connection or not, but now that I think about it, remember how I mentioned of the neurosensory pins and needles tingling sensation on my left side that I get? Well, the tinnitus is typically, it's worse in my left ear instead of the right as well. So maybe there's a connection there with that. So anyway, I get sidetracked there for a moment, but so what I wanted to say was, I mean, I'll typically have, like I said, these 3 to 5 day seizures that last that long, and now the one thing that I still don't quite understand why this happens, and again, I've been trying to do further reading and research into this whole business of tinnitus, and I think, I mean, what's very fascinating is how I will have, I'll give you an example. I'll go to sleep at night, and it's blaring away in both ears, okay, and then I'll wake up. Might like wake up in the morning, and it's and it's gone, and of course, and it might stay that way, like I said, for a day or so, and of course, I mean, it's so um, it's such an incredible sensation. Not to mention a wonderful sensation when you wake up and it's gone, because it's like it's so quiet inside your head, in your ears. But what I wanted to touch upon now here's where it really gets weird is, and this has happened so many times. All right, and I'm, again, still trying to figure out why this is happening. I will now say for instance, I go to bed where it's quiet. I'm not experiencing it. Okay, and then I will. I mean, I've had times either if I, wake up in the morning and doze off for a little bit, even, whether it's an hour or two, or, I mean, seriously, I've even had times, I'll wake up, and it's not present, go to sleep for 5 to 10 minutes, wake up, bang, and as soon as I wake up, it's there in full force. Now, see, I mean, see, this is very perplexing. How can it be totally absent, and then 5 to 10 minutes later, it's blaring away, when I wake up. So I mean, again, that just, to me, strongly suggests that this, is just further evidence of my brain and neurology, I guess, is just firing off these, these weird messages to my hearing and auditory system, and creating this sound, in my head. So, so again, thank you, Eli Lilly, for screwing up my neurology, and it's been a pleasure. And if I could sue the living shit out of you, I would. How do you like that? But anyway, so I don't know. I just I thought that was funny. I don't know, but anyway, no. So I mean that's pretty much it. I mean this business of tinnitus. Oh, and by the way, I mean I don't think there's any connection to it all. But just so you know, see, really all of my life, I have always been sensitive to noise. Okay, and I will tell you, since like 1996, so it's 17 years now. I mean, I sleep with earplugs. Oh yeah, and I've slept with earplugs every night now for like 17 years. And just so you know, I mean, I do not have any kind of earwax problem or anything like that, and because some people say, well, that can cause, the tinnitus, but that is not the case with me, and okay, but no, but I mean, like I said, I've always been sensitive to noise anyway, and and as I said, I mean, I can't believe the earplugs are, creating this, because again, I mean, I never, as I think I said earlier, I mean, I have never had this problem until, in fact, it was just about a year ago, as I recall, the fall of 2012 is when it started. And so and by the way, and I'll just take a couple quick pot shots and cheap shots at the prescriber as well. But when I saw her in July, and I mentioned the tinnitus business, and to no surprise, she had no reaction, no comment. See, because again, it's not her problem, and it's not her responsibility. Don't blame her, right? So, and this is the one other thing I was going to say. In the event you did not catch this in the prescriber episode at number 5, I mentioned it then, and I just wanted to throw it in now in this episode that during that July appointment, I mean, again, just to show you how increasingly out of touch with reality she is. She, I'll make this quick. We stumbled upon the subject of Zyprexa. And of course, I could tell by her facial expression, and again, I touched upon this in the prescriber episode number 5. Her solution, again, take more, take more Klonopin, take more stuff, that's all she knows how to do. But what I was going to say here is, she actually said, when talking about Zyprexa, and she said in like a very, like I said, not only is she totally out of touch with reality, but she said in a very like official pharmaceutical pill pushing attitude. And she just came up with this very like snooty response, and she said, "Oh well, Zyprexa is beneficial. Zyprexa is beneficial. Oh yeah." And I'm like, lady, get your fucking head out of your ass. This stuff almost killed me, for God's sakes. Don't you get it? She doesn't get it. So, I don't know. I think I've made my feelings about her very, very clear in my other episodes. And I'm still, I still got I'm still, as we speak, I'm still holding on to the...
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
official complaint against her, debating whether or not to, do it, and, for one little slap in the face, that she rightfully deserves. So, but that just blows my mind how she can say, oh, it's beneficial, oh my God, I don't know. All right, well, that's about it here, and did my best to keep this as brief as possible. So, okay, but I don't think there was anything really else going on. Like I said, just, sleep is an ongoing problem, and the tinnitus is becoming more of a problem. And, and the other thing I was just quickly say about the tinnitus is, even when I have it, such as right now, at this moment, now if I expose myself to any kind of loud source of noise or object, or and I don't, but even if I do by accident, or if a loud vehicle passes by, if I'm outside or whatever, that will amplify it immediately. So it's not good. And I don't know, just another thing to add to the list of what would appear to be permanent damage, courtesy again of long-term exposure to Zyprexa. So let that be a message to anyone watching out there who either has taken it or was thinking about taking it. And for that matter, this type of warning about Zyprexa really and truly should be extended to the whole family of antipsychotics. Okay, Abilify and Seroquel and Risperdal, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. There's another one, and so. Okay, so I guess that's going to do it for now. And I think the next episode I make, I'm probably going to do a prescriber episode. So I think that'll be episode 5. I think I'm losing count here, but all right. So I guess that will do it. And
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
hope to see you soon. All right. Bye.